So Stephen and I, and there's the picture with the trophy. Who will get their hands on it at the end of the day? Well, it's hard to call a winner, Stephen.
No, really looking forward to this. Two best players in the world today. In possibly the second most important tournament in the world.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
This is what you want of a final.
Decent break off. Anytime you don't leave a whole pot on, you're happy with it. I don't think you can get past the blue to play for the red on the left-hand side of the table. You can just get to the line of reds just below the pink for a return to balk. Got that a little bit too thick.
What I can't wait to see, John, is who's first to stamp their authority on this final. Really looking forward to these first 4 frames. Can Ronnie reproduce the form of that last frame last night against Marco Fu?
Good opening red. Knew he was running into the second red, but played with that extra bit of pace. And he's on the black.
I mean, apart from winning the UK title, the incentives for, personally for both players. Ronnie wants to prove himself against the world number 1, the world champion. And Mark Selby, as world number 1, world champion, wants to put the sort of people's champion in his place. Prove why he's the best.
Absolutely. He's been world number 1 now for a while, and as you say, reigning world champion. So there's more than this UK title and the prize money at stake. Reputations are on the line.
Nine.
Well, he's got a nice angle on the blue to bring him back amongst the reds. He's just having a look which is the easier red to play for. And just undecided. There is a red immediately above the black, but has he run far enough to be on that red? In fact, he's looking at the red on the right-hand side of the table. Tells me he's not. Just an inch or two short of perfect position.
Thank you. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 14.
So although sometimes we talk about, you need to take time to settle, these two players, they expect to be on it straight away. So we disappointed Ronnie, only scoring 14 there.
Thank you.
We're playing this long red with a lot of drag on the cue ball.
It's lovely though, isn't it, when you've not taken your opportunity and then immediately you come back to the table with another chance.
1.
Well, he did play it with drag, but he wanted to make that red a little bit thinner. He'd like to have been straighter on the black. Now, he'd like to be on the red immediately above the black. If he's on it, that's good. If he's not, he's in a spot of bother. Oh, there's another red that goes. Ready to play that with
9.
left-hand side, just didn't get into it enough. So not the angle he was looking for on the blue. Yeah, all these top players, Stephen, they set such a great story winning the first frame, don't they? Get that first frame on the board as soon as you can.
Yeah, I always liken it to top boxing matches. Whoever gets the first good punch in,
14.
get that first frame. What a gift this is. To be able to play a positional shot and knowing that you can
15.
play the shot left-handed.
Well, he's just overrun that slightly. There's the sidebar. 69 he needs to get to leave snooker, so another 33 points required at this visit.
23.
Just lost the cue ball slightly though.
Yeah, he's having to work hard. He's not had it on a string, as we normally expect. But now, it looks to be in absolutely perfect position.
28.
Should win the first frame from here.
29.
Beautifully played cannon.
36. $37.
That
44.
basically equates to another couple of reds needed. Looks a formality.
45.
But after the few scares he had last night, Ronnie, against Marco Fu in the semi-final, he'll take nothing for granted. Red and a cover required.
52.
Mr. Red with the rest. And that's really the only chance he's had.
53.
Yeah, Ronnie will know that when he's in this position, he needs to leave mark. If he's not going to clear up, that's the ball to win the frame. So leave mark maybe at least 3 or 4 snookers to stop him coming to the table.
61.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Mark Selby needs a couple of snookers. You know he's going to carry on. And Ronnie likes a free-flowing game.
67. 68.
I'm sure Ronnie would love to make the century here.
74.
That would be making a statement.
75. 82. 83.
Not the perfect angle on the black to get on the awkward red. That's why he's playing the pink. Bit more difficult pot. Needs an angle on the red. Just about got one.
89.
Wonderful.
90.
Now, just got to miss the yellow and the brown, and this looks absolutely inch perfect. Beautiful.
97. 99.
The perfect start.
102.
This the 100th
106.
century break of the tournament.
$111. 117.
Well, you kept saying he had 2 chances, but the second one was absolutely sublime. Well, nothing Mark could do about that. That was Ronnie O'Sullivan at his best, and he takes the first frame in style.
In quite some style, yes, John. And it's Ronnie's 8th of the week. And in fact, it's his 98th in his career in the UK Championship. He's chasing the 105 set by Stephen Hendry in his career. And just another point there, it's also the 100th ton of this year's championship, which is in its 40th final here. So lots and lots of numbers, but it all adds up to a brilliant start, John.
Absolutely fantastic. Where he finished last night with a wonderful century, started off again. And the question I'm asking myself here with this, I know they've played a lot of times, but I'm just wondering, I can't ever remember where, can Mark Selby, as the world number 1, handle Ronnie O'Sullivan if he has an absolute fizzer? If he plays as good as he can possibly play, can he handle that?
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, if you were playing devil's advocate and you were going to ask the question, who in the world can handle that, you'd say John Higgins at his best and also Mark Selby possibly at his best as well. And the question would be, I suppose, John, once Mark Selby gets the grind on, plays the ultimate match play that we know he can play, can Ronnie O'Sullivan keep his A game together? So
which is why finishing that frame in the way he did is of paramount importance for Ronnie to do.
I think it's massive in this match. I mean, John, you know, made a point there in commentary. Honestly, at the end of the frames, no drop in concentration levels. Finish them off. Don't leave Selby with any opportunities for 2 or 3 snookers, because you're going to drive yourself mad, because he will carry on playing.
Ronnie said for the first time in a long time he considers himself the underdog going into this match. Are you in agreement? The bookmakers don't agree with that.
No, but you've got to say that, you know, as Mark Selby as world number 1, he's not there for no good reason.
Well, with Mark's break-off, he has left a possible pot to the left corner. He's got to avoid the black and the red to the right of it if Ronnie plays it. Well, he avoided it. But the red, the only one he thought he could leave, came back up to the balk end with the cue ball, but unless the red goes into the middle, I don't think Mark will be playing it. Well, it does go in the middle, but it's too dangerous. You can play a good safety here. Catching a balk colour full in the face. It's never going to be a good safety when you do that.
It was quite an aggressive safety shot. Went into the pack quite thick. Not to open the reds up. Could be a ploy of his today. Get the game opened up. Oh, this is a good shot from Mrs. Brown. Excellent safety shot from Mark Selby.
Yeah, an absolute cracker. Even though both these players, great potters and break builders. You just feel that the tactical exchanges are going to have a big bearing on this. And Ronnie got to play a good shot now to get this safe. It's not straightforward by any means. Well, you know it's tough when Ronnie O'Sullivan takes this long to think about it. He's looked at the red that's near the right corner. He can't play safe off that. If he played the cross double on that red, more likely than not to get the double kiss. Sometimes in this situation a player decides, well, I might as well try and pot my way out of trouble. But I don't think he's got a pot on that he'd fancy getting. Well, he's found the gap between the red and the blue, and all things considered, he'll content himself with that.
Yeah, look at the reds now. You expect that these two players, one mistake would almost definitely cost you the frame. This looks a bit pacey.
Well, as you said, Stephen, the reds spread as they are. Next one in, you'd think he could make a frame-winning contribution, but there's always pressure that if you miss this shot, you could leave them for your opponent. But in it goes, right in the heart of the pocket.
It's hampered by this red. The left cushion for the pink. Also the cue ball going away from the reds.
Seven.
So a good pot needed now, the one to the left corner. A thinnish cut. Well, he didn't want to be kissing
Eight.
the pink. Anyway, he got the pot, and that was the most important thing.
Yeah, strange path the cue ball took. I thought he'd play that with check side to avoid cannons.
$13.
Already John looks a completely different Ronnie O'Sullivan to the match last night, apart from the last frame, doesn't it? He looks completely focused on his job today.
Yes, and when you've come through a match like that, we always say how much does it take out of you. But the way he finished the match would have given him a real tonic for this final today. Under the utmost pressure, he showed that he was in form to win a frame, and with the break he did.
Yeah, I also think when you
20.
snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat, it completely relaxes you for your next match. It's like you've been given a lifeline. You should have been out. Marco Fu had potted an easy green with the rest last night. He'd have been in this final.
25.
Yes, there was a few swings and roundabouts last night.
26.
But that's the nature of the game. You've got to pot the game balls, and sometimes when you get near the winning line you get a bad contact, as Marco did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not Ronnie's fault Marco wasn't able to pot game ball. That's sport at the top level.
Working these very well at the
31.
moment, but with only really the blue to play for, pink out of commission. Got to keep finding this good angle on the blue.
32.
I think the red you'd like to be on at some time is the red there's one tight to the cushion. There's a red just above it. Oh, he's took his eye off the
Ronnie
pot.
Sullivan, 32.
Thinking about 3 or 4 shots ahead rather than the one in front of him.
Yeah, if you've seen Ronnie go back to his chair, he makes an action with his right hand as if he decelerated. That's the action he wanted to put on the cue ball.
So an unexpected miss and an unexpected chance for Mark, but it's certainly not easy. Black out of commission, blue and pink not available. And if he lands on the pink, this will be, well, he's going to land on it, but not in a
One.
potable position. He'll do well to make 30 at this visit. Now this red, the one just above the one that's tight on the cushion, that's the one I thought Ronnie might try and get on. And I think he did when he missed the blue. Because this red may clear a path for the black in a few shots' time. He used all the pocket, and because he hit it too thin, it's going to run past the baulk line.
6.
Didn't hit it in the middle of the pocket. That's why he got that extra bit of pace on the cue ball.
Yeah, John, looking at that picture, if not the black, the red above the black certainly. So that was the red that both players would like to have gotten rid of. Well, again, we presume he's obviously taken this red on, because if he was playing a safety, he'd have tucked up behind the brown. It's a test of cueing.
Mark Selby, 10.
Quite an aggressive play that, John, to leave himself that red.
Thank you.
It
Settle
certainly
down,
was.
please.
I think, to be honest with you, he liked a little bit more angle on the pot to play the run through. It was probably a little bit straighter than he wanted. But yeah, it certainly was an attacking shot. As Stephen said, he could have rolled up behind the brown quite easily. But such was the position of the colours. It was always going to be very difficult to make any sizable contribution. And this red will pot, but it looks as though in potting it he's going to run into the reds that are close to the top cushion, so he's not going to be on anything, you wouldn't have thought. Well, he's coming round to have a look at the potting angle. He'll trust to luck as to whether he can get on a colour or not. Looks like he's deciding to play safe off the red. Don't blame him for that. And also an opportunity to bring the black into play.
These are the type of frames that, if Ronnie can win the majority of these frames, he's going to be hard to stop today, because you've got to fancy him to score heavily if he gets in early in the other frames. These are the ones I think that are going to decide this final.
covered the red that's near to the right corner, as you can see. Well, does this one go, the one that Mark's playing? Will it pass the red and black? May have done. Now, is there a gap between the blue and pink? Well, there's a gap, but not enough for Ronnie to get to the red that's closest to the corner pocket. Played that well. Well, that would have been good, but for the kiss on the green. I'm not saying he's left the pot on, but you feel now if... Well, there's a possibility this red may cut in, but I think Ronnie will be more concerned in trying to get this cue ball in behind the green here. With all the reds on this side, if you could get in behind the green, it's bound to be a snooker. Is it going to drop in the pocket? No.
He had to hit that red thick in order to get the cue ball back to that right hand corner of the table, but this was a problem. He was going to be moving reds away. A long way away from that one. When he does miss, he misses by a long way. Either gets some or misses them by a long way, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it's just the timing there. I think he put a little bit of trace of right-hand side in it, and because he just hit it a little bit firmer, trying to hold the cue ball, that right-hand side pushed it into the red, the cue ball, and that's why he hit it too thick. It's amazing sometimes how many times do we see it when a player plays a poor safety and then your opponent misses and that poor safety gets you in, and that's what's happened here, but still not a great chance. Well, that's nicely brought. Oh, I was going to say brought a couple of reds into play now. Mark desperately needs this red just to the right of the black to be able to be potted. If it isn't, then that's the black out of commission along with the pink and blue. Goes the black goal.
I think the red's just stopped enough time, so it's not. Well, maybe it hasn't. If he goes for that, he is hitting the red and black at the same time. I thought perhaps it just stopped in time, the red.
We'll soon know when he plays this red whether he thinks the black will pass the red. He needs that black to be possible. And obviously he thinks it does. And now has he gone far enough down the table? Can he get through to it? Shake of the head tells you he's not. Just a fraction short. Well, I'm glad you can see the funny side of it.
It's laughing, but it's it's horrible. I mean, how has he landed there?
Got into it too much, didn't he? He wanted to stun off the side cushion and he got too much backspin. In the spot of bother now, and he's still 13 points behind. Oh, tremendous hit. Tremendous hit. Touch. Absolutely perfect. Well played. And more so because he'll be so disappointed to have finished there. Brilliant hit.
Yeah, just an example of his fantastic temperament. I mean, the red, he didn't get on the black, snookered himself, then pots a good green, and snookered himself behind the pink, but had the composure to play that brilliant shot.
Well, Ronnie will be a little bit disappointed in didn't get the cue ball tight to the baulk cushion. And Mark's just come round now and see if there's a possibility of a plant on these two reds along the top cushion. There's quite a bit of distance between the two. It's not guaranteed. And if he doesn't get it, he could leave the red on.
It's almost as if he has to play this cushion first, because he has to hit the first red so thin. I don't think he was ever playing the plant there. Yeah, so I said before, both players, if they get in early, will score heavily. But these frames, I think, are going to be so important in this final.
Well, is he taking this on? Ooh, well, he did. So close, but now this is a chance. Another one for Mark Selby. It was certainly a very aggressive shot choice, this.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll leave an angle in the black to take those two reds away from the side cushion, or just make sure the points with the two reds below the black.
1.
And yeah, he's going to play the second of those shots. Thought he might have, the black's in a perfect position. I thought he might have been tempted to finish low in the black.
Red and the black will put him in front in this frame, but still an awful lot to do. All to be fit and young.
9.
Just a little bit careless there. He'd like to have been straighter on this black.
Well, I'll be looking to finish, I think, high on the black here, so he can stun off the black cushion with that
16.
left-hand side. Disturb those two reds. Oh, what did
70.
high, but maybe not that high. I think he can still make the cannon. That's maybe just an inch or two too far to make this unmissable.
$24.
Well, he's had a look where he'd like to leave the cue ball, but this is no easy pot. That was no
Selby,
gimme
24.
by any means. When he goes back to his seat, he's now got an 11-point lead.
Take your seats quickly, please. Thank you.
Well, he could have played a better safety than that, Ronnie. He's left a chance of a pot on here. Mark's going to have to dig down a little bit on the cue ball to avoid the kiss on the black. Good pot. But I don't think it's going to be on green or brown. It's just hit it too hard.
1.
I think there's quite a bit of snooker left in this frame yet, particularly the awkward last red and the way the blue and pink are situated. Feels just roll into the yellow and get the snooker with the green. Oh, he decided to play the snooker
Mark Selby 1.
behind the blue.
We know how good a safety player Ronnie is, John, but would you make Mark's favourite to win most of these frames?
Well, that is the question that we've been asking, and yeah, I suppose tactically, mainly because I think he's got a little bit more patience. Absolutely, that's the word.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby 4.
Just a fraction. Very severe, the misrule, when you see something like this.
Yeah.
Ronnie's held the position, so the referee couldn't know, but he was a bit pacey with that white, once he was a little bit slower. So if he hits the red, he's not going to knock it on. Just missed it the other side, has he?
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby 4.
Stand up, Ronnie, you'll give yourself a bad back, son.
Yeah.
Missed it again.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby 4.
In this type of frame, these points are valuable.
They really are. This is where the misrule is very severe for me. I mean, his first effort, I mean, he's missed it by an absolute millimetre. He needs to hit it, and quick. This time. Well, yes. He hits it. He hits it. Ronnie didn't know. I'll be honest, I didn't know.
And with those 12 points now, Mark Selby just needs red in the colour.
Yeah, it's a big lead, the way the balls are situated, that is. Well, that'll help Ronnie a little bit, developing the blue slightly. I don't know whether there's a thin cut on this red. Now Mark's having a look at just clipping the red onto the black. If he clips the red onto the black and hits the black full ball, the red will stay near the top cushion. A little bit thin. But he may have had a result here. Is it there, or can Mark just get past the pink? He can, and this red then is cuttable.
Yeah, it's a very thin cut, and the problem with this shot, if you get close, you can leave the red over the pocket.
Much too thin. Not applause, but he'll be disappointed to have missed the cut. Don't think Ronnie can cut this in, it's too thin. This looks pretty good. Looks very good now.
Yeah, great shot. Had to get the snooker as well. As you can see, he's bringing the red into the middle of the table.
Missable this, using a lot of right-hand side. If you hit it full, you could send it towards a pocket. All things considered, he hit that red just about as good as he could.
That's what he's growing at for me. When he gets out of snookers, he never leaves a pot on. I know there's a small percentage of it is luck, but most of it is skill. First frame was over. Just over 10 minutes. We're approaching half an hour for the second frame.
Trumpet by the black. This is a tough shot for Ronnie. He's caught it too thin. Has he got the cover with the green? That's what he's got to hope for. I think by the look on his face, he just about has. Yep, there you see it. Bit fortunate. Mark having a look if he comes off the right-hand side cushion, but I have to play it a lot of side, and it's not as if the red is right over the pocket. He's wondering if he can come off the side with lots of left-hand spin and maybe pot this red. That was the problem. Now, has he left it? He has, but it's not a straightforward run to the line. Never was going to be. Ronnie 24 points behind, red colour and the 6 remaining colours. Doesn't matter whichever colour he takes, that's what's required. Big ask.
One.
Tried to cannon the blue there and bring it into play.
Four. Six. Nine.
Well, I'd like to have caught the brown a little bit fuller, but he's still got an angle to come off the ball cushion behind the blue.
You'd love to play the cannon on the pink.
Thank you.
Well, that's two
Sullivan,
shots
9.
he's missed so far in this match with the rest. It's unusual for Ronnie. The brown's there, so that puts Mark Selby out 19 points to lead with just 18 remaining. If it drops, the frame's over. Ronnie won't be coming back to the table now. And in goes a double. Complete contrast to the first frame. And Mark Selby takes it. It took over 33 minutes. But he'll be sipping that water a lot better. He's levelled. It's one each.
Yes, 10 minutes for the first frame, and as John says, 33 for that second one. Is this the shape of things to come, would you say, gentlemen?
Well, I mentioned in the last talk that we had, they're saying don't miss reds at the end of the frame because you give yourself aggravation. Well, you really, from Ronnie's point of view, he lost momentum there. He missed a blue off the spot he's playing, and he's made a century in the first. He's got a blue here just to come down for reds. OK, he's trying to play a delicate positional shot, but you'd never think he was going to miss that. But from the minute he missed that, the frame started turning, and it became more scrappy. It became more tactical, and obviously over half an hour. It's a credit to Mark Selby. I mean, how he won that frame. I mean, looking and thinking he hasn't had any table time, but he just can find the way to win frames. It's brilliant. It
puts me in mind, actually, of the first frame against Sean Murphy in the quarterfinal earlier on with Mark Selby, and it was Sean who came out, made 100 in the first frame, and then slowly, once again, it was Mark Selby who managed to just dampen down the spirit and enthusiasm and just strangle him in those frames.
Yeah, and you've got to realise that, you know, that when you're playing the game on the table, you sort of just have to play the shots in front of you. But to keep calm under the conditions that possibly the first frame goes awry, and it looks like the other guy's flying in the second frame, then to be able to turn it around quickly is a strength that Mark Selby's got. Such a great tactical brain. They both play some marvellous shots in there, but Ronnie would be very disappointed. That's a bad frame to lose, because he had a chance on that blue early. He had other chances later in the frame, right at the end. He didn't take them as he normally does, and of course, you know, he's probably on his mind that Mark Selby's a tactical player and likes to play good tactics all over the place. So I think that wasn't. I think perhaps walking out there wasn't a bad thing to do, because I think probably disappointed.
Yeah, because he talked last night when he came in here, and he spoke very eloquently about working with Steve Peters and the ability that he seems to have now not to beat himself up too badly after making a mistake, and just to try and get out of his mind and go on. And that's something that we've seen him work on increasingly over about 5 years now with that eminent sports psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's obviously working for him, but this is the ultimate test today, because he knows what type of player he's playing. You know, we're talking here, we're not being detrimental to Mark Selby. He can score and make hundreds like anybody else. He's a great scorer. But if the frames go awkward, and I couldn't agree with Stephen Moore in commentary, he said, for me, the match is all about these frames. When they go scrappy and tactical, if Ronnie can win those, I think he'll win the match. But I'm not so sure he's going to win all of them, because Selby is just so good in that department.
And he's not had to win many like these in the last few matches. OK, he got into a real tight tussle with Marco Fu last night, but this style of game, he's never been drawn into a great deal over the last few days here in York.
Not the last few days here, but he's played Mark Selby in the World Championship, so he knows how high the mountain is to climb.
Back we go, frame 3.
Ronnie gets frame 3 underway. Once again, a decent break-off shot.